There comes a moment in every life where silence grows louder than the noise, where the reflection in the mirror demands an answer, not from the world, but from you. And the question is not, what do you want? It's not, what do you have? It's this, who must you become to live the life you were born to lead? This world does not bend to want. It bends to will, to decision, to the man or woman who wakes up and says, enough. Enough waiting. Enough wondering. Enough existing. Now, I become. You were not designed to chase dreams. You were built to embody them, to rise into them, to command them by becoming the vessel worthy of the vision. Every empire began with a blueprint, but blueprints are useless in the hands of someone who refuses to build. So the blueprint is you. The future depends on the version of you that you haven't met yet, the one buried beneath years of fear, comfort, distraction, and delay. The version of you that doesn't just wish for greatness, but trains for it, fights for it, sacrifices for it, becomes it. You see, success is not something you find. It's something you forge within. You want more? You must become more. And becoming begins the moment you decide. Decide who you must become, and burn the bridges behind you. Not someday. Now. Because every day you hesitate, the future you desire fades into the hands of the man or woman who was willing to do what you wouldn't. Let that sink in. There's someone out there right now, hungrier than you, less talented maybe, but more decided. And while you scroll, they sweat. While you doubt, they move. While you wait for signs, they become the sign. This isn't about hustle porn or toxic pressure. This is about becoming clear, crystal clear. Who must I become to live the life I'm destined for? Because if you don't answer that question with intention, life will answer it for you, with mediocrity, with regret, with a slow death of your fire, your gifts, your calling. That's the war most people never even know they're in. They fight for comfort, for approval, for routine, and they die never meeting who they were meant to be. But you are here because something inside you is done. Done playing small. Done pretending you don't hear the call. You want wealth? Become the mind that attracts it. You want freedom? Become the discipline that creates it. You want love, purpose, impact? Become the soul that embodies it. It always starts with identity. Be, doctor, have. That's the order. Always. Be the person. Do what that person would do. Then, and only then, do you have what they would have. But you cannot skip to have without earning it in the furnace of transformation. The world doesn't reward desire. It rewards identity. So who do you need to become? A man of clarity? A woman of conviction? A leader who doesn't flinch when the storm comes? A warrior who doesn't wait for perfect timing, but makes their own time? Close your eyes. Picture it. Not just the goal. Picture the version of you who would live it. How does he walk? How does she speak? What time do they rise? What do they tolerate? What do they refuse to tolerate? Build that person like your life depends on it. Because it does. You want a new reality? It begins with a new identity. Not the one given to you, the one you claim. So no more dragging the past into the present. No more excuses wrapped in stories about why it's too late or too hard. You are not here to relive your history. You are here to rewrite it through who you become next. Listen closely. You were not born with limits. You were taught them. You inherited fears that never belonged to you. Voices from the past etched doubt into your spine like it was your name. But it's not. You are not your hesitation. You are not your failures. You are not your story unless you keep telling the same one. This is where you draw the line. Because transformation doesn't begin in the world around you. It begins in the silence between your thoughts. It begins the moment you interrupt the old programming and say, "This is not who I am anymore." You don't need more time. You need more clarity. You need to define, in no uncertain terms, the standard of the man or woman you are building. And then you must rise, every single day, to meet that standard, not your feelings. Do not wait for motivation. Motivation is a spark, but identity is the flame. And that flame? It's lit by vision. What do you see when you close your eyes and think of the life you crave? Because if it's blurry, so will be your actions. Clarity creates conviction, and conviction is what separates the average from the unstoppable. Henry Ford didn't wait to become an engineer. He became a visionary first. He saw what others could not, and he decided he would bring it to life. Not because it existed, but because he refused to live in a world where it didn't. That is what vision does. It rewrites the rules. But most people don't see with vision. They see with memory. They let their past dictate their possibilities. Their failures become shackles. Their mistakes become mirrors. And so they repeat the same patterns, the same choices, the same small life, until they're buried, full of dreams they never had the courage to pursue. Not you. You must train your mind to obey your command, not the world's. You must rewire every belief that whispers, "Not enough," and replace it with this: "If it is to be, it is up to me." That's not a cliché. That's a covenant. Your future isn't waiting for conditions to be perfect. It's waiting for you to be precise. So decide what kind of mind you will carry into battle. Because every day is war, not against others. Against the old you, the undisciplined you, the distracted you, the you that settles, the you that listens to fear like it's a mentor. You don't need more information. You don't need another course, another book, another affirmation. You need alignment. Your identity, your habits, your words, your routines must all agree with your vision. If they don't, you'll stay stuck in conflict. And a man at war with himself can build nothing lasting. So simplify. Strip it down. Who are you really? Not what do you do. Not what do you own. Who are you becoming when no one is watching? That's the work. The unseen. The unsexy. The hours before the sun. The reps when no one's cheering. The choices when compromise whispers its seductions. Discipline is the forge. Character is the steel. And purpose. Purpose is the fire that keeps you in the fight. If you don't know your why, you'll fold every time life applies pressure. So write it down. Burn it into your mind. Who must I become? And why must I become them? Because this world needs more than dreams. It needs builders. Men and women who don't just talk vision. They walk it. Let them laugh. Let them misunderstand you. You are not building for the approval of the crowd. You are building for the legacy of your name. For the silence of your own soul when your head hits the pillow at night. Can you sleep knowing you gave your all today? Or just your excuses? That is the metric. Not likes, not praise, not validation. But this: did I honor the person I'm becoming? Because if not, you are delaying the inevitable. Pain. Pain from discipline or pain from regret. But one way or another, the bill always comes due. So choose wisely. Choose the discomfort of growth. Choose the pressure of responsibility. Choose the narrow road few will walk, and become the one they'll remember. Not because you followed the path, but because you forged it. There will be days when the fire dims, when the silence feels heavier than the noise, when no progress shows, when the mirror reflects the same person you've been trying to outgrow. That's when most people quit, because they were chasing results, not becoming someone. But not you. You're not chasing comfort. You're chasing alignment. You're not chasing validation. You're chasing evolution. And you know this: Storms don't break you. They reveal you. You were built for resistance. Steel is only born through fire. Diamonds only emerge under pressure. And character, true, unshakable, uncompromising character, is only forged in adversity. Success doesn't ask for your convenience. It demands your consistency, your resilience, your ability to adapt, to learn, to stand even after being knocked flat. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he lit the world, but he didn't call them failures. He called them steps, steps toward the inevitable, steps toward what he already believed to be true. That success was not optional. It was inevitable, because he became the man who would invent. Long before the world saw the bulb, he saw it inside himself. That is the work. Not what you do, but who you decide to become. This world is filled with talent that never met discipline, genius that never met focus, potential that never met pain and pushed through it. But you are not here to be potential. You are here to become power. Power over your emotions, power over your thoughts, power over your distractions. Because until you master the inner, the outer will always be a battlefield. Success is not about chasing more. It's about becoming more. And becoming more requires one hard truth. You will have to let go of who you've been. The habits, the excuses, the people who reinforce your old self. Even the identity that got you this far must die, so the new one can rise. Think of it like a bridge. You're standing between two lives. Behind you, comfort, familiarity, ego. Ahead, challenge, uncertainty, greatness. And in the middle is the decision. Will I burn the bridge or keep walking back to who I used to be? Let it burn. Because you cannot build a new future while clinging to old survival. You are not here to play small, not here to dim your light so others feel comfortable, not here to match the tempo of the crowd. You are here to become a force of clarity, a force of consistency, a force of integrity so solid that nothing, not failure, not criticism, not delay, can shake your foundation. And when life hits you, because it will, you will not beg for ease. You will say, "Thank you for the pressure. I was built for it." Because now you understand, obstacles are not interruptions. They are invitations. Invitations to grow, to refine, to become. Every great man in history, from Lincoln to Carnegie to Mandela, faced darkness that would have broken weaker men, but they rose because they had already decided who they must become, and that nothing would stop them. So what about you? When will you decide? Not when you have more time. Not when the fear leaves. Not when it's safe. Now, because the longer you wait, the stronger your old identity becomes. And the harder it will be to hear the voice of the man you were meant to be. But if you listen now, if you act now, you will begin to feel something shift. Not outside, inside. You'll walk into rooms differently. You'll speak with conviction. You'll carry yourself like a king in the making. Not because the world crowned you, but because you finally did. You crowned yourself with belief. And from that moment, everything changes. Not because life gets easier, but because you got stronger. You become unstoppable the moment your identity matches your vision. The moment you stop trying to succeed and start embodying success. That's when the war ends. Not around you, but within you, when you decide that this is who you are now, not someday, not when it's easier. Now you stop negotiating with your potential. You stop outsourcing your discipline. You stop lowering your standards to fit your surroundings. And start raising your surroundings to match your standard. Because a man on a mission doesn't need permission. He doesn't need motivation. He has resolve. That's the difference between the average and the exceptional. The average wishes, the exceptional works. The average reacts, The exceptional creates. The average hopes to become someone. The exceptional chooses and shows up as that someone every single day. And when they fall? Because yes, even giants fall, they don't crumble. They recalibrate. They don't say, "Why me?" They ask, "What now?" They don't retreat to comfort. They advance through discomfort. Because here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Your future doesn't need a better plan. It needs a better you. A clearer you, a more courageous you, a more consistent you. This world doesn't reward talent alone. It rewards courage aligned with conviction. It rewards those who are disciplined enough to finish and humble enough to evolve. Clarity isn't found. It's forged. It's built through silence, through solitude, through asking yourself the questions that shake your bones. What am I building? Why does it matter? And who must I become to bring it to life? That's where the fire starts, not with answers, but with questions. Because most people don't fail from lack of opportunity, they fail from lack of identity. They build businesses, brands, careers, but forget to build themselves. They chase outcomes, but never ask, "Am I the kind of man who can hold what I'm asking for?" Because success, real success, doesn't just demand skill, it demands stability. Mental, emotional, spiritual. So if you want the empire, build the emperor. If you want the throne, build the man worthy of sitting on it. And that man isn't built in the spotlight. He's built in the early mornings, in the lonely evenings, in the hours when nobody is watching and everything in you says quit. He's built when discipline becomes more important than dopamine, when vision becomes louder than excuses, when faith becomes your foundation, not fear, not frustration, but faith. Because nothing outside of you can replace what must be built inside of you. So stop waiting. Stop pretending you need more time. Stop telling yourself the story of one day. You don't need more time. You need more truth. And the truth is this: you are already enough, but not yet who you must become. There is more inside of you, more strength, more clarity, more power waiting to be accessed, but it only comes after the decision. The decision to stop playing small. The decision to take full responsibility. The decision to become the kind of man your future demands. So, what's it going to be? Keep reliving the same year on repeat? Keep being driven by doubt and delay? Keep shrinking to fit the expectations of others? Or rise, rebuild, redefine yourself, moment by moment, with courage. The future belongs to those who build themselves before they build their vision. And the truth is, if you don't choose who you must become, the world will choose for you, and it will always choose something smaller. So don't wait for your greatness to be revealed. Reveal it yourself. Because life doesn't hand you crowns, it hands you chisels, and says, carve yourself from stone. And most will run from the dust, from the weight, from the truth that greatness is not found. It is forged, but not you. You didn't come here to blend in. You came here to build, to become. You came here to dig up the roots of your fear, to stare down your lesser self, to declare, "This ends with me." You came here to build the man so the empire could rise. Not the other way around. Not the fake success. Not the image without integrity. Not the noise without depth. But a life that means something. A legacy that echoes. A mind that's free, not from struggle, but from surrendering to it. This world will try to bury you in distraction, to convince you that numbness is safety, that convenience is wisdom, that drifting is destiny. But not you. Because you've seen what happens when you drift. You've felt the price of living by default. You know the pain of being less than who you were called to be. And you are done. Done tolerating weakness in the name of comfort. Done living in reaction. Done pretending you don't know exactly what's at stake. Because you know this isn't about a goal. It's not about a number. It's not about applause. It's about alignment. It's about building a mind strong enough to withstand storms, a heart resilient enough to stay open, a spirit bold enough to rise. No matter how many times it falls, that's what it takes to become the man. That's what it takes to lead an empire. And that's what it takes to leave behind a life worth remembering. So ask yourself, and answer like your future depends on it. Who must I become? And what am I willing to do? To become him. The world won't give you more until you become more. It won't open the gates until you hold the key. Forged in fire, shaped by struggle, etched with decision. So decide, not tomorrow, not someday. Now stand up, look in the mirror, and say it with your soul. I've decided who I must become, and nothing will stop me from becoming him. This is the beginning of everything.